Welcome to Spiderwick.
How you doing today, Aaron?
I'm fantastic, Grant. So good to see you this morning.
It's good to see you as well, and I'm so excited to talk about this show. I binged it all in one sitting because I was just so hooked on
Oh,
what you've
dude,
done. So
thank you so much.
absolutely kudos to you on that. Now, this obviously isn't the first adaptation of this novel, and obviously a TV show offers more than a film could. But what was one of the big things that you were looking to do differently going into this one in comparison to what the film did?
I mean, there's a number of different things. I think the first one is we always intended to age it up. And in aging it up, we could talk about there's all the issues that we talk about within the series are in the DNA of the books. And it was one of the things that in rereading the book when I was preparing to do the adaptation, Jared's mental health issues, his anxiety, his depression really came to the forefront. And I wanted to have a venue to be able to talk about it and not like directly, but through also allegory and talk about what it means to be perceived as somebody who's monstrous and what that does. So in aging it up, it gave us this awesome ability to actually talk about these real issues. And it happened at a point when my 4-year anniversary of being on Spiderwick is a week ago last week. And so I read it right in the beginning of the pandemic. And I saw what my own kids were going through, how they were struggling with depression. And I thought that this was an amazing story that can actually speak to them and make it okay to have these emotions and destigmatize it. So that was one of the major things. And then from there, it was also, working really hand in hand with Tony and Holly of, hey, books are different, movies are different, TV shows are different. We need drive, we need propulsion. So we also had to change the notion of finding the field guide complete in the attic, which happens in the book and the movie. Then it becomes a different type of show. It becomes about guarding this thing that everybody wants. And that's really difficult to sustain for 8 episodes or seasons long. So that led us to the more quest style storytelling and hopefully tricking the audience and even, especially the diehard Spiderwick fans, that when they see the field guide, they're like, oh my God, there it is. And it's empty. Also subverts expectations, because one of the things that's really important for us to do is there's a lot of huge Spiderwick fans out there. And they love the books and they love the movies, and I love them too. But we want to give them something kind of still Spiderwick, but a little bit different so that they don't know what's going to come around the next corner.
I think it finds the perfect middle ground for long time Spiderwick fans and newcomers. So, and I love the quest that you do. It adds such a fun mystical layer to the whole show. Now, with how important the twins and Mallory were to carrying the story, what was the casting process like in finding them?
Oof, it was hard. It's, I wish we had all the money in the universe and we could have pulled a Freddie Highmore and cast one actor to play both roles. But I've done that before. It's really hard to do. It's time consuming. You have to shoot one side, then they have to go change, then you have to shoot the other side, then you have to merge it together. It is just time consuming and difficult. So finding 2 brothers that fit and knowing that, look, we tried to find identical twins, it wasn't working. So to find, fraternal twins who felt like their roles took not only a nationwide search, it was a global search. We had, our casting directors reaching out to the UK, to Australia, all over the world to find these kids and to see if they could, match and merge. So I feel very fortunate that we got Lion and Noah, who not only, play perfect twins and brothers, but they also are completely their roles. They are, Lion is, a little bit of the rebel and roustabout. Noah is a little bit more conservative. And so seeing them inhabit these roles was like, oh, we did it perfect. We nailed it. Fantastic. And then once we had them, we could build out the family from there. So getting Michaela was honestly like a coup and almost happened really quickly before we started shooting. Again, another nationwide search. We had to find somebody who had Mallory's energy, her spirit, and her strength. And when we saw Michaela, we were like, this, it's just hands down. She's just such a strong warrior woman. And we're like, this is perfect because you are the knight in of this piece. You are the knight of the story. And so you need to be the one, the fighter, and need to carry the sword. And she absolutely rose to the occasion.
I love that they were perfect off camera as they were on, because they truly did embody these characters so well throughout the show. And just as important as them, though, is Mulgarath. And boy, oh boy, do I love Christian Slater in this role. He just chews up every bit of scenery. Was he sort of the first person on your mind when you were putting the show together, or did you start looking, cast a wider net for who would bring him to life?
We were casting a bit of a wider net, and we had lots of different like kind of thoughts about who it could be, or who the prototype could be. And when casting came back and said, "Hey, Christian Slater's interested," I about fell out of my chair. I'm 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 the biggest Christian Slater fan, and even like meeting him on set, I was like, "Hey, I have to tell you, like, Gleaming the Cube and Pump Up the Volume and Legend of Billie Jean are amongst my favorites, and I feel like I've grown up with you." And he's like, "That makes me feel really old." And I'm like, dude, I'm right there with you. I'm as old as you. We are in this together." But having him, there's a certain quality of Mulgarath that definitely harkens back to Jack Nicholson in Witches of Eastwick, of the manipulator, the devil in the town, and having him have the ability to, I mean, he talks about chewing the scenery. I talk about giving him something delicious. It was so fun to write for him. And especially, he was so game for it. He loved the humor of the character, and he loved that he could pivot from humor to sinister so quickly. And that he could have both of those, going simultaneously, it was just a blast to work with him. And because he was always bringing that A game, a lot of people come and they're like, yeah, it's a gig. This wasn't a gig. This was him, really inhabiting this role and taking on such an enormous role of leadership on the crew, especially with our young actors, that he could demonstrate this is professionalism. You come and you're ready to work. You can ad lib, you can have fun, but this is work, and here we are, and let's go, and he was so supportive of them. It was just wonderful to watch.
I love that, and I love that you got to have that collaborative relationship with him. I personally have been a big fan, even with Cuffs, back in the day.
Dude, I'm right. I
Underrated,
love Cuffs.
underrated one in his filmography. So that's amazing. Oh, I see I'm already out of time, so I'm gonna have to get on out of here. But I hope we can talk more about this show as it comes out, because I know I'm keen to dive into actual story stuff when there's no spoiler embargo.
Grant, I would love to continue talking to you as well, especially when there's no spoiler embargo. But fantastic, and thank you so much for binging it this weekend. That's so awesome.
Absolutely, thank you for making it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too, man.